Xbox and PlayStation. No. PC. The never-ending battle that's probably going to extend for ages to come.
Well, if people stopped trying to prop up one side artificially, the battle would probably be over in a weekend. Some people will always prefer consoles, some people will always prefer PC, but the debate over which one is actually a better platform really shouldn't be that complicated. And it's not.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to take sides. I have owned both, I've played both, and I know where each one prevails.
I'm not here to take sides, which is why your background is a picture of 2 consoles, and the video title is literally taking a side.
I don't like where this is going.
But one thing that pisses me off is the fact that some people think that just, one device is the best at everything, and that's just simply not true.
It literally is true, but go on, I guess.
I'm really sorry to break it to you, but that's the truth. It's not even merely true.
Which means you won't have to desperately reach for reasons why one is better than the other, right? Right?
One device is not really the best at everything. So the PC is not the best at everything, and the consoles are not the best at everything.
The PC quite literally is the best at everything. It has better hardware, better customization, better pricing, more games, better backwards compatibility. Like, genuinely, how can you be so dedicated to neutrality here? There is quite literally nothing measurable that the consoles do better than the PC.
A while ago, I got into a discussion with a friend of mine about consoles versus PCs. Me and my friend, we both agreed that overall, PC is better. Overall. So not at everything, but overall.
Usually when people take such a firm stance on something like this, they at least give one reason why they believe what they believe. 53 seconds into your video and you literally haven't said anything of substance. You literally could have just put a picture of James Corden on screen and your argument would have been equally valid.
But I told my friend that I would understand the ease of setup, the ease of use, and the portability of consoles. And then my friend made that one mistake where he said, PCs are easy to set up and use, it's just that people make excuses, that's why.
Yeah, that's true. The setup process of a PC and a console are quite literally the same. You plug them into the wall, you plug them into the monitor or the TV, and you turn them on. Then once they're turned on, you download games and start playing, maybe after a few system updates. That's it. I guess on PC you have to download a launcher first, but oh no, that's an extra 5 seconds of your life? The point is, yes, the setup process of a PC and a console are pretty much identical, and even though PC technically has one extra step, suggesting that's a roadblock or a reason for you not to get into it is just expecting too little of people.
And that's where he had me. I just snapped, because that's not true.
You snapped at your friend for the grave sin of not thinking 5 seconds of extra time is a big deal? I can't wait to hear how you spin yourself into the bigger person of this story.
Like, I seriously hate it when somebody who knows nothing about anything starts babbling nonsense, because it's just not true.
Yeah, guys, I snapped at my friend for saying something I disagreed with, and then instead of hearing him out, I told the internet he was babbling nonsense. What a nice friend you are.
So today, I'll prove it to you with 5 reasons why consoles are just easier.
Remember, guys, he's not picking a side, and there's no objective winner here, which is why he's doing the classic 5 reasons why console is better thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna skip ahead through your stupid animation here. Although something tells me you should just stick to food from now on. But I do want to point out that one of the things he throws up on screen here is gaming. And for that part, he has a picture of 2 different Xbox consoles in a video talking about how console gaming is simpler than PC. I can't be the only one who finds a little bit of irony in that.
Reason number 1, parts. When was it that you last walked into a store and started picking the parts that you want inside your Xbox or your PlayStation device? Exactly. You never did.
Okay, I'm nipping this in the bud right now. Is it nip in the bud or nip in the butt? I never actually knew which one it was, and I don't care. Anyways, I'm shutting this argument down right now. Is that better? I can't stand this argument that consoles are better because you can't pick the parts inside them. And let's be clear about that. It's not that you don't have to, it's that you cannot. But anyways, if you want to eat a cake, you have 2 options. You either pay someone else to make it for you, or you get the ingredients and bake it yourself. But if you've never baked a cake before and you just go into the store and start buying what you think you should put in a cake and start just making a cake in the way you think you're supposed to do it, the cake is going to turn out like shit. And yet you never hear people talking about how awful it is that some people prefer baking their own cakes to buying cakes at the store. But just in case that analogy wasn't good enough for you, I've got another one. Let's say your car breaks down and you need to fix it. You can either take it into the shop and have somebody fix it for you, or you can do it yourself. But again, if you've never fixed a car before and don't know how to fix a car, you're going to fuck your car up even worse than it was before. And yet nobody talks shit about people who prefer fixing their own cars, do they? This anti-DIY mentality is almost exclusively a console peasant thing, and I find that absolutely fascinating. Building your own PC is not difficult, and it really doesn't even take that much research, and yet there are legions of people like this gentleman here who insist that you shouldn't do it. And then they refuse to understand why you prefer your ways over theirs. Doesn't matter that it's cheaper in the long run, doesn't matter that a gaming PC is a far better investment than a gaming console by every objective measurement. Doesn't matter that some people just enjoy doing things themselves instead of paying a giant corporation to give them an inferior product. This subject really is not complicated, but you're going to do everything in your power to make it seem like it is. Also, you don't have to own up to the fact that maybe you just made a bad investment.
And I'm sorry to all of you PC users, but that is just a huge turn off for console players.
Notice how he says sorry to you PC users out there, but in your intro animation you have a graphic that literally says PCs. So you're not a PC user. Like, we all knew that. It's obvious to anyone who watches this video. But the fact that you open this video by trying to look like an authority on the subject only to turn around and basically admit you have no authority and no idea what you're talking about is just kind of funny.
Most people don't even know or understand what PC parts are.
Most people have no idea what ingredients go into a cake. Doesn't mean you can't learn.
A lot of the people that I've known did little to no research at all and just instead went to somebody, paid them money, or maybe for free, but went to somebody who's an expert at PC parts, and then that expert made them a parts list.
So what you're saying is if you don't know anything about PC parts but want a gaming PC, there's an easy solution to the problem. I mean, that sounds like a good deal to me.
They think that it's just not important to know, all the parts that go into your computer, like CPU, GPU, RAM, power supply, motherboard, and whatnot.
I mean, if you really want to get blunt about it, it's not. Almost everybody owns a laptop or desktop computer but couldn't tell you what's inside it. A while back, I had to help my mother-in-law figure out an issue with her old Dell desktop. She knows nothing about that Dell desktop but owns it anyways. There have been countless times that I've had to help my grandparents or just my parents with their computers. They couldn't tell you what's inside those computers or how they run, but they sure do have them in their house. This argument is ridiculous. You can't tell me what's inside an Xbox or PlayStation either, but that doesn't mean that you don't know how to work the machine. Just because I can build a PC myself doesn't mean I have to. And again, the fact that you're dwelling on this point so much just further proves you have no idea what you're talking about. Having a fancy intro animation doesn't make you an authority on this.
And instead all of that, let's just tell the expert our budget and he's going to build the PC, am I right?
I mean, yeah?
Yay. Guys, money is not the factor here. For the same amount of $2,000, I can create different PC builds and each build is going to be serving its own unique purpose. For the same amount of money.
That's a really weird way to put it. I can make a million different builds for $2,000, but that doesn't mean they serve a unique purpose. Every computer is capable of the same things. Some are just better than others depending on how you kit them. And the variation between several different $2,000 builds is going to be pretty minimal when you get down to it. Like, it's not like one $2,000 build runs games incredibly and the other one runs them like shit, Unless the, quote, specific purposes you're talking about here are things like rendering or multitasking or other non-gaming related things, which, again, is kind of irrelevant. Because if you're spending $2,000 on a computer, it's going to do most everything you want it to do very well. $2,000 is a very expensive computer.
See? So it's not even about the money. And that simply is why PCs are just not for everybody.
God, you are so vague about everything you say. You're just breezing through these points without saying anything at all. Once again, you could have just put up a picture of James Corden and the exact same number of valid points would have been made. You said money is not the issue. You said you can make a bunch of different builds for $2,000 and they'll all do different things, which doesn't make any fucking sense. And then you just repeated yourself. Like, genuinely, what was the point of the last 30 seconds?
And not knowing your parts is an issue by itself. Hence why the consoles are just easier, and you have to worry less about what goes into your console because it's already there. It's built, it's made, the parts are inside. You don't have to worry about what parts are in there.
Everything you just said applies to every gaming PC that you don't build yourself.
Reason number 2, putting it together.
Wait, was that not what you just said? Like, how is this different than the first point?
Look, guys, consoles are consoles, and they're already pre-built and pre-made.
So are a lot of PCs.
PCs, however, you just have to put them together, all the parts.
No, you literally don't.
And again, sorry you guys, but money is not the case. It's not about the money.
Okay, genuinely, what was the point of calling this reason number 2? You're just repeating everything you already said.
Yes, you could pay somebody to put all the parts for you, but did you even know that the way you put the PC together affects how you're going to use the PC?
Damn, that's crazy. Good thing you didn't already tell me that. Wait.
Or, let me say it in other words, the same parts, with the same case and everything, you can build them together in different ways, right? Such as, where would you like to put the water cooler? On the top or at the front? Where would you like to put the case fans? Should the case fans be blowing air to the outside or the inside? There's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of science that goes into it.
Bro, you literally already said all this. And unlike you, I don't want to repeat myself, so I'm just going to move on from this because I feel like I've already effectively dismantled these points. Saying the same wrong thing over and over again doesn't suddenly make it correct.
And how about the cabling and the cable management? And if cables are not done the right way, they could suffocate your PC and your PC could just go boom.
That's right, guys. If you don't have cable management, your PC will literally explode. That's definitely a thing that happens.
Or worst case scenario, your bad, terrible cable management, not yours actually, the bad, terrible cable management of the somebody who put that PC for you could affect your CPU's performance, and therefore you would get less frames in games.
You can see the gears turning in his head. Like, watch that section again.
Or worst case scenario, your bad, terrible cable management, not yours actually, the bad, terrible cable management of the somebody who put that PC for you. So yeah, the thought of having to go shop for parts and then also having to build the parts together, that all combined is the worst nightmare for any console user because
you're really wasting our time here, but you literally said all this already. How many times have I said literally in this video? Take a shot or a hit. I don't know. But you're not making any valid points at all. You're making these giant generalizations about console gamers when it all comes back to the cake analogy. Learning about these things is not difficult, and to suggest that it's your worst nightmare really just highlights how little you want your world to change. Nothing wrong with being content about what you're using now, but if you're not going to even try to understand why some people may think otherwise, why did you make this video at all? If you don't turn this around soon, I'm just going to jump ship, which would be a bummer for you because this is probably the most attention your channel's ever gotten.
A console user just wants to go shopping for the console itself. I buy the console, I'm able to play. There you go. So yeah, again, consoles just prevail at being super easy and super simple. Reason number 3, BIOS and setup.
Well, I mean, this should be reason number 2 because the last section presented nothing new, but anyways.
Just as I'm looking at you right now, you're probably looking back at me.
I really wish I wasn't.
And you're probably wondering to yourself, what in the living hell is a BIOS again? Exactly, buddy. You have no idea.
Again, the cake analogy. If someone's never baked a cake before, you can't get mad at them for not knowing the ingredients. You're not a tech expert. You're just kind of an asshole.
And so does my other idiotic friend who discussed this with me, not knowing what a BIOS is. And so is a lot of people on Earth. They don't know what a BIOS is.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the proper usage of the word is just BIOS, not a BIOS. Like, you don't run a BIOS, you just run BIOS. So, do you know what BIOS is?
I mean, sure, you shop for your parts, and then you put the parts together. But did you think that we're done here?
I mean, for the most part, yeah, you're done there.
No. Now you have to set up the BIOS settings and install all the drivers.
You know what my least favorite thing in the world is about people like you? Instead of actually understanding the thing you're talking about, you just took the least commonly known aspects of it and are using that as a platform as to why you shouldn't change to PC gaming. You don't have to manually install all of your drivers. If you pull up all of your drivers on Windows right now, 99% of them, you didn't have anything to do with them being installed. Most of the time, your PC will just detect what's needed and do them for you when you boot up the computer. BIOS is also something you don't really need to access unless something is wrong. I've been playing on PC since 2017, and I can count on one hand the number of times I've actually needed to go into BIOS to fix something. And of those handful of times that I've gone into BIOS, I ended up not actually needing to do it at the end of the day. I was just covering all my bases. You truly do not know what you're talking about. This isn't a video about how console is simpler than PC. It's a video just trying to scare people away from switching to a superior platform because you don't like it. And for someone who claims to be some kind of tech authority, this is a really fucking weird video to make.
BIOS settings, well, just in brief, they're the motherboard settings that you have to tackle with.
In computing, BIOS is firmware used to provide runtime services for operating systems and programs and to perform hardware initialization during the booting process.
Afterwards, you have to install Windows and install certain drivers so that your PC could actually function perfectly.
Again, most drivers will install themselves when you boot the computer. If you plug something into the PC and you need a driver for it, Windows will typically just search for the driver and install it on its own. And if you have to manually install a driver, which does happen, that takes, oh no, like 20 seconds? The world you're describing where you have to find and install 10 million different drivers just isn't real. Stop acting like it is. Okay, you know what? I'm tired and annoyed, and I don't want to keep giving this little snot more attention, so link in the description to the original video, but I'm over it. I'm gonna go play Dark Souls. Toodles.